Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia in 2022 and 23? Might consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on side so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now we are soon approaching a new financial year, the 1st of July 2022. It's weird that a lot of viewer left a question: why is it Australia the financial year accounting from 1st July on towards the end of June next year? Very good question, which I don't have the answer to you. But anyhow, tomorrow is gonna be the 1st of July, will be a new financial year, and obviously a lot of fans and viewers would love to know whether the migration cap, the migration annual intake will somehow be increased. So we're soon to know. Anyway, we have received a news article coming from SBS, so I'm going to share with you what they expected, and I think there's a lot more other things will come out very soon, and stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to my channel. Now let's go in there. Now this news came out early yesterday. I didn't have time to actually digest it, so I'll make sure I have this one first thing in the morning, Thursday 30th of June 2022. Okay, so the title says Australian visa changes for 2020-23. What a new government may bring. That's exactly what everybody is interested of. So the state of financial year 1st of July means resetting the spot on Australian migration program. Now that is very good phrase. I love that. It needs to be reset because what we have experienced in the past few years, including going through pandemic, is just well, horrible. How many of you have been waiting for your EOI to be invited? Why don't you leave a comment right down below of your time been waiting with, and give me a thumbs up for that one. Opening up a new opportunity for people from overseas, but this year also presents some key changes to certain visa holders' response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So let's have a look. 1st July. Okay, so visa changes for 1st July offers skilled workers. Great. If you are looking to get some work in Australia, here's your opportunity. New pathway to permanent residency, more places for working holiday makers, and chances for graduate impact by COVID-19 border closure make up their time locked up out of Australia. So we already know about that one. So that's the 485 visa replacement that we have talked about many videos ago. Okay, Ben Watt, lawyer of migration agent visa envoy, said the change of present exciting prospect of some, with focus of supporting economic recovery from COVID-19. Now, not just the COVID-19 recovery, but it seems to be more than that, because we are looking, the current situation is the inflation, is the rise of interest rate, that it's gonna perhaps recession, which we've been talked about for the past 10-12 years. So will that actually come? I think it's very likely, because there's war going on in Europe, and the inflation and all the goods manufacturing and the decoupling from all the manufacturing chains from China, that's really likely to bring us into recession. So that means more economic recovery is required. And if you have been following my channel long enough, you know the signal there. If there is an economic recovery need for Australia, the policy of immigration is always the key to change that, and that is good for every one of your viewers in this channel in regards to interest to migrate to Australia. It is very difficult for a lot of people in the law industry feel staff shortage, and that is worldwide phenomenon going on at the moment. So Australia is the same, so they need more people to go there. So there's no more talk about too congested, too many migrants. We need more people. So what happened? The former government has actually presented somehow something not really truth and fact, perhaps a lie. Anyway, we have the new government, the Labour government, the Albanese government. The government is looking to change everything. So what is doing so is pumping so many people into the system as possible. That is great. That's a welcoming sentence and phrase I love to have. Mr. Watt also said that 1st July change will be viewed as a renewal of certain visa holders not sorted out and remained in Australia during pandemic. There were a lot of difficulty. People were here with temporary visa. A lot of people lost their job. It got stood down. There were also sorts of difficulty things cohort of temporary visa holder encounter. There are some key changes. So let's have a look at the key changes. So TSS visa, that's the work employment sponsor visa holder will find easier to apply permanent residency. That's great. Now, how many of you have put application in and still pending and delay? So I think there's going to be a lot more things coming up to fix the program. And as I said, the employment sponsor visa is crap. They need employer, small medium-sized business. Well, large corporations is fine, but small medium-sized business to put 3 job ads, that's just ridiculous. I think that required to be have a good change, have a good think about that. And also, what about the Skill Australian Fund, which is causing a lot of employers not to be able to fund those kind of money and waiting for 12 months for a visa to be approved. Who is gonna do that? So anyway, this is changes coming up. 31st of March, there were 52,440 people on 482 visa, related 457, which is ceased offering new places applicant in March 2018. 1st July, those holders will apply TRT, the temporary resident transition, which will let the skilled worker nominated by their employer to live, work in Australia permanently. So that basically is including the short-term list occupation in there. So if you've been in Australia during pandemic and continue your working in employment, helping the economy, pumping up the economy, the Australian government is offering you a permanent residency placement there. But the new pathway will only be accessible for 2 years from this date. Well, look, there is potentially a change, an extension to this, as I have previously spoken in many other videos previously. So look forward to it. Luke Edward, associate lawyers or work visa lawyers, said that the temporary change would now make living Australia permanently more accessible to these visa holders. A lot of were staring down a very guaranteed pathway to permanent residency. Client people, I've heard, very excited now opportunity in staying in Australia. So that is the thing, that is the message that this new Australian government want to bring to everybody, and I think it's very positive. If you are interested about migration to Australia, certainly it's the time to come. Those eligible who need to be in Australia for at least 1 year between 1st February 2020 and 14th December 2021. So that's the time of the pandemic, and that's the time when Australia locked down the south. The change will also apply to 457 visa for all those short-term skill occupations. So Department of Home Affairs spokesperson told SBS News that special concession recognize those highly skilled migrants who choose to stay in Australia throughout the pandemic. Well, but which is really crazy, because at that time the Prime Minister Scott Morrison asked everybody, the migrants, to leave Australia, and now they are giving incentive for those who did not leave Australia. Anyway, it's a past. We gotta look forward in the future. Age limitation. So another change impacting 457 visa holder means that no longer restricting age for apply permanent resident through TRT stream. That is great. Now, whether or not this is going to expand it into 482 as well, I think they should, because a lot of people come at the age of, say, 43 or 44. Obviously, work 3 years later, their age is going to be beyond 45, but doesn't mean they have not contributed themselves in the in Australian community. So have you seen that news about the Irish man being cannot apply for permanent residency and required to leave the country? He's been living in South Australia for, I think, for 10 years or something. So that kind of things should be I think there should be a justice bring into those kind of situation. They weren't able to achieve permanent residency while they were younger and age out of the system and change something that they hoped for a long time. So I think this is a welcoming message, and I hope that this will expand further, not just between those time, but perhaps further into 482 and just permanently changed the law. The reason they haven't really done so because the new government has only just been elected on the 21st of May. There wasn't enough time. There hasn't really even been a parliamentary sitting time in order for the new government to actually implement the new policies that they require for the new immigration system. Temporary graduate visa, which we have possibly been shared this news all around. So there's a replacement coming up for those who had got their visa during pandemic, so during 2020 and 21, and now you should have received an email that your visa 485 visa has been extended until the 30th of September 2022 this year, and from tomorrow onwards you'll be able to apply for replacement of 485 visa, which is good that you get another 2 or 3 years of working visa. You can come to Australia and enjoy your work experiences and pumping up the Australian economy. That's basically what it is going about. So now, working holiday makers, they need more people to come to Australia to work. So this is all about work and all about the economy of Australia. So COVID-19 border closure meant working holiday makers were locked out of the country. So from 1st July, this is going to be tomorrow, there will be 30% cap increase. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. But some countries for 462, for example, let's see, China, perhaps they were not able to access to that because China controls people to move out of the country. But other than that, Mongolia, Brazil, there's going to be looking for more people to come to Australia to work. Age limitation for Italian and Danish citizen has been lifted from 30 to 35. That's great. There will be a cap increase of work and holiday arrangement for Hungary, Austria, and Slovakia Republic, totaling 14,000 places. Whether or not they'll come to Australia that soon, don't know, but the door is open. I think there will be a lot more opportunity there. What will the new government approach? Let's have a look. Okay, 1st of July also marks the Resetting Places migration program, presenting a new opportunity for the migrant, for all the viewers that you're watching this video at this point in time. The various pathway of skilled worker enter Australia about to rise by more than 30,000 places. Now this is done by the former government. Now there hasn't really been talking about the annual migration intake. So Labor has outlined an intention. Here we go. They do have the intention to push and renew focus on permanent residency pathway to come back in security post of a rising level of temporary migration. This is great. This is a very welcoming message, and which is publicly now in the news media. So I think I'm really looking forward on what the approach and the new policy will be. But the new government elected in May, as I said, just about a month or two ago, has inherited migration program still grappling with the impact of pandemic, and has set addressing visa backlog as its priority, which is good. Needs to get that sorted. Decision made by predecessor regarding visa framework will continue with some having real implication on those impact. Obviously, we know there's so many backlogs and delay. Mr. Watt said that people shouldn't expect enormous change the visa system immediately because of change of the government. There will be need for numbers of years, to at least 12 months before we are going to see a big changes. Anyway, I think that's fair. But obviously, we know the intention of the new government is to make changes to the policy. Now, we need to understand the fact that the past 9 years with the Liberal Party ruling Australia, obviously 9 years, can you imagine how many things has been changed and altered? And within a month, you can get that all sorted? I don't think so, obviously. But I think the only key to sort this out is to actually increase the annual migration intake, because if that has been lifted, a lot of things can be resolved. Anyhow, that's leaving to the government of Australia to actually make the decision and change. See how that goes. And I'm looking forward for exciting migration future of Australia. And should you have more question or query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.